ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। तूने हमें उत्पन्न किया, पालन कर रहा है तो तुझसे ही पाते प्राण हम, दुखियों के कष्ट हरता है तो।
Our communities particularly, there's high rates of gang homicides, domestic violence, police brutality. So we live in these communities. What we want to do is we want to better them. And the way that we want to better the communities is to go out and learn from the experts. Learn from people who do this every day and have a deep appreciation and love and respect for their culture. We know that there's a lot of indigenous cultures in the world that preach and promote and practice peace. And that's our mission, to go out and to learn from them and to bring that back to our communities in Chicago.
One of the things that I think we've learned here in India is this notion of Ahimsa, this idea of nonviolence, that you can do things through nonviolent ways, that you can interact with people nonviolently, and that you can confront injustice and you can confront violence and problems through a stance of nonviolence.
Having courage, honesty and love to take care of yourself and the needs of the other person also. This is Ahimsa. Most of us in our education system are never been taught of how to express our own needs. We are being taught of like what's wrong with the other person and how to find the wrongness in the other person and punish the person. In non-violent communication, we try to look behind the wrongness, we go behind the wrongness and see what was the need the person was trying to meet behind doing what he was trying to do.
If we speak nicely and we communicate nicely, that's how we show that we are at peace. If we are at peace within and speaking peacefully, so it maintains peace in the community, in house, in any group, and allowing discourse within a community makes it peaceful.
In the States, we're just like, you know, we see someone frowning at us or yelling at us, and we're not really thinking, why is this guy yelling at us? We're quick to yell back or, you know, just to like fight for our case and not understand. So I feel like the main lesson that I've learned here was like to really just try to understand that person and, you know, at least like try to communicate with that person as best as you can to understand why they're acting this way and why they feel this type of way.
In our India, there was a man, his name was Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma, in Indian context, its meaning is that the great soul. So he told about one time, if you want to learn about the peace, first you need to understand about yourself. If you can understand about yourself, then you can understand entire world.
Gandhi said, let my doors and windows of my house be open, so the winds of differences, of new ideas can come through and go out of my doors and windows easily. But let my house be strong, that no wind can blow it away.
If I'm able to control my emotions, if I'm able to look at things with empathy and love, put myself in another person's shoe, then the quality of conversation that I'm having with my family, with my friends, with the community, that quality of conversation transforms our reality. We discover new things, we discover things that we disagree on, but then we figure out a way of getting around it. So for me, non-violence and peace is an everyday practice. You've got to work on yourself every day. And as you're working on yourself, slowly, slowly you see that it's like a ripple. Everything else around you changes. And, you know, I think Rumi said this, you know, at first I was clever, so I tried to change the world. Now I'm wise, so I try to change myself. And I think that, to me, is what peace building is really about.
Prior to being involved in peace exchange and coming to India, I kind of had this notion of peace, that it meant being in harmony, and it was this sort of utopia. I've kind of realized that there is a greater definition of peace. And to me, peace it's something that you do, and it's about sharing our minds and our hearts. And I remember when we were with STEP, I hadn't really got to know the people that were involved in STEP that well, but the fact that we still shared our intimate conversations about what peace and nonviolence means to us was really powerful for me. I lost someone special in my life, and that was my brother, and he died due to gun violence. Yeah, so it was very hard on me and my family because I've developed this passion for people and their wants to create a better world that emphasizes peace. And I feel like because they are so young, they have the power to change the conflicts that are occurring in their society. And I feel like because of the compassion that they have for wanting to become agents of change, that really helps them to become leaders.
We try very hard to connect with other young peace activists in other parts of the world. So if we're traveling to South Africa, if we're traveling to Nicaragua, Myanmar, Thailand, India, we try to get our young people to connect to other young people in the world who are doing similar work, and to build that sense of community, to make sure that our young people know that they're not alone in their work, that there's other people in other places who have the same dreams, who have the same vision to better their own communities. And that's what we want to get across. That we are really, at the end of the day, we are global citizens, and that the fight for justice and that the fight for peace is an international one.
I think it's really important for young people to travel and to visit different communities, because I think when you travel more, you get to understand that in each community and every individual person in the world, no matter where they live, they are looking for some very basic things, like they are looking for love, they are looking for acceptance, and these are all the basic needs of us as humans. So when you travel more, when you visit more and more communities, you get to understand, yeah, okay, every community is functioning on the same needs, and how they achieve that is in different ways. So I think when you come from Chicago to Agra and you visit my community, then you get to understand that how this community is being binded by love and how this community functions. And probably these young people from Chicago, they can learn something from here, and they can take that and they can try to see, if similar things can work back there at their home.
Originally, I wanted to join the Peace Exchange because I saw in my neighborhood that the diversity wasn't getting accepted by a lot of people. And whenever there was a new change, people would get frightened or think negative of it. And the Peace Exchange really allowed me to speak to how I've learned about peace throughout my journey of 80 hours of training. And now that I'm here in India and have finished my trip, I feel I can go back to those communities and even to my friends and family and teach them what I've learned, because change does start with an individual.
The city has this kind of constant reiteration of peace and confluence, etc., which also means that there's a diversity, A, and B, there's a possibility of conflict, which is why there's constantly the need to reaffirm and reiterate, look, we are peaceful, look, we are together, look, we are in unity.
In Delhi, Kapila from the STEP group opened up to me about how she felt towards the partition of the Muslims and Hindus and the Basi community. And she told me that her great-grandparents witnessed the conflict, but they also witnessed a really positive thing come out of that negative conflict, in which the Muslims and Hindus work together to live together in a community and not get separated. And I really enjoyed that of her. I thought it was really kind of her to open up to me, even though she barely met me that day.
Not everybody knows that peace is achievable. It's just the abstract thing, and I believe that peace is a verb. And I know that I have a big influence being the age that I am, that I have younger siblings and cousins and friends that look up to me. And I think if I try to get everybody on board with the mission for peace, it can be achieved. And I think it's important for me to be a small drop in the pond to, move everybody.
One of the things that young people have to understand is that to be a peace activist, you don't have to go out there and lead big movements. That peace becomes real once small groups of people get together and break those boundaries. Right? Everyday interactions, It's the everyday actions of young people, positive actions, that added up create mass change. So it goes down to the individual and the relationships they have with their communities.
At my school, we already have that culture established about nonviolence because we have this thing called peer mediation, where we bring two students who are having a conflict together and we help them resolve the conflict on their own without just giving them the answer. We get each side of the story and then we try to help them. We push them in the right direction so that they can actually form their own resolution from this, okay, what steps can you take, what steps can I take, so that we don't have to have this peer mediation again. I would like to leave a legacy at DRW that peace is possible, because even no matter what you've gone through, it may be dark at the end of the tunnel, but there's always light if you keep going. We've been through dark times, you experience dark times, just don't fall into it.
So it is believed that people who have some diseases or some problems, some health issues, come to this place and take bath in the holy water, will be relieved, will be healed.
Both with children and with young people, I believe that everybody thinks they are adults in waiting, They don't have agency before that, they don't have any currency or value to do something. But the world that they have is completely different. Their concept of democracy, equality, everything is different. They are best suited to lead this world at local level, at national level, at international level, at their homes. They need to start actually living democracy, practicing responsibility on a daily basis. Because unfortunately, we don't have the time on our side to just wait for them to become 40 or 50. They are now, leaders of now, not leaders of tomorrow.
This group of peace builders, from the beginning, they've always just seemed so in tune with peace and wanted to make a change. So to see them from the beginning and just to see them now, how they've just assimilated with the people in India and just learned the culture and just really found the needs of people and just want to return that love and favor, is just amazing to see. So each peace builder has shown their own growth throughout this trip, and I think India is what brought that out of them, just that new personality, that new freedom and peace.
Ni za ni za ni